Hello, and welcome to another edition of Conscious Connections, where we explore soul centered conversations that awaken truth, inspire healing, and remind us of our divine power. I am your host, Dr. Deborah Carson, and the creator of the Fear to Freedom Project. And I love to sit down with beautiful souls who are transforming lives through their gifts, their stories, and their wisdom. And together we move beyond fear right into freedom, one conscious conversation at a time. Before we get started, if you would be so kind as to watch this content to the end. Something very special about what's going on here. Subscribe to the channel, like, and leave us a comment. Tell us what hit home with you through this conversation. What if the life you're trying to fix was never broken? What if the constant striving to become better, more healed, more evolved was actually the very thing keeping you from experiencing what is already here? Well, today's guest invites us into a different way of being. He is the founder of Ready, a living mirror that works through life's intelligence, supporting people in seeing, feeling, and hearing what is truly happening within them, especially in the moments that feel the most challenging. His journey is one of many, like many of us know so well, the path of self improvement, trying, striving. We're always reaching for a better version of ourselves until something unexpected happened. The race dissolved, and what remained became his work. He is also a Cenote soul guide and the creator of the Real Together tribe. It's a space where people gather to practice something both simple and deeply courageous, being real with what is actually alive within them. Welcome back to the show, Brian. How are you?
Lovely to be here together, dear.
Yeah,
To be
good.
here real together. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so the very
Yeah.
first
I
time
feel
we
great.
met, you
I feel great.
well, I'm glad. I'm glad you do, and I'm glad to have you here. The first time we met, you were doing cenote soul journeys for people, and that is
Yeah.
really what
Yeah.
actually captured my attention. Like, what? I didn't even know what a cenote
Mhm.
was. So, yeah, yeah. So, why don't you tell the audience because that really attracted me. Like, what is a cenote? What's a
Yeah.
cenote guide? What do you do, and what got you started there?
Yeah. That's where our connection also started, right? And for me, I didn't also, same as you, I also didn't know what a cenote was. But what I did know is that before I even arrived in Mexico, because cenotes, well, as far as I heard, there are many over the world, but in Mexico, it feels like the hotspot of
Yeah,
that.
yeah. It
And
is.
the meteor landed there that killed the dinosaurs and that created a lot of cenotes. Apparently, it's quite miraculous to me still. Like what I do know, I didn't know about cenotes, but what I did know is that it was something in me saying water, 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 and then I ended up there even before I, said yes to Mexico. So that's quite something, right? And then there, like this whole process of guiding people in the water just emerged from that initial, like, I cannot even call it a longing because it was like something that I didn't choose it, you know, something
It
chose it
chose
for
you.
me. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It chose you.
So, and the whole journey itself that emerged from that is just like what I discovered there is that just through like, hey, would you like to be held in the water? Because I saw that in front of me, and I just said that to someone, like a friend who I met literally that day, right? And he said, "Yes, I would love to experience that." And he's like this big man, like you don't see this on this camera, but I'm pretty short, and he was very tall and like the opposite, very muscular, and it was like even difficult for me to hold him. I was like, "Well, I'm feeling this." And this big man, lovely soul, he said after this like 10 minutes of holding him in the water, he said like, "I felt like a baby."
Wow.
This, you know, and it's such so tender and so open that I felt him to be after that session, and he said like, "This was really something," you know? So from that moment I knew, okay, this is really something. Let's go for it. And that's how it started. Yeah. Yeah.
So are you still there in Mexico, taking people through cenote journeys?
Not right now. I'm right now in the Dominican Republic visiting my 91-year-old grandfather.
Oh, okay, okay, great.
Yeah.
So what did
Yeah.
people what was most of the feedback that you got from your, customers or participants? What was most of the feedback? Like, overwhelmingly, what was the theme that came back
Yeah.
from getting a cenote journey?
Like the overall theme was it's difficult to use words here, but it was helping them get closer to themselves. And I've even had like a lady who said after that, now I know who I am.
Mm.
And when I hear that, I'm like, wow. Because especially this lady, she was not very much from the spiritual, like she's not like very much into the spiritual community, or um like she was not really on that path that some people are on, and there's no good or bad in that, or like you're further, or but like some people are really on a soul journey and like intensely on that road, could also be of seeking, right? And she was totally not on all of that, and yet she said that. So I was like, well, there's a lot of power in this. Even just be held in the water and you just can let and you can just let go, that does something already, that in itself. And that was part of the whole journey. And maybe I will do it more in the coming places, because after this I will go to the Netherlands, and after that I will go to New Zealand. So what will emerge, we'll see with the water. But like what I'm like, that depends on my presence, right? And
Mm.
what actually emerged actually here in the Dominican Republic when I was here last time is something that people can use at any moment in their lives, and also gets them closer to themselves. That I'm really really enthusiastic about. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm excited to get in the cenote. I understand that there is a lot of, energy coming from the earth, from under the earth, in the cenotes, so it was, almost the way that you guys described it whenever you were on my show the first time. It was almost better than a baptism, right?
Yeah.
So, I'm interested in when I come to Mexico, I'm definitely gonna go um to take to get into the cenotes. So, I wanna talk about
Yeah.
um, this new tool that you're using called Ready, and you describe it as a mirror that's kind of working through life's intelligence. So, what is life's intelligence, and how does that speak to us in ways that we're missing?
Yeah.
What are we missing, and how can we get that through Ready?
Yeah. So I would even say that initially, like essentially, can we really miss anything? I would even say that, because like life has been mirroring us all the time. Like, and that can be to like patterns that repeat. That can be through situations and people coming back into your lives again, because there is something there for you to see, not so much about the other person, but about yourself, because we're all mirrors to each other. And like, if you don't get it the first time, it will just keep on, things will keep on coming through different circumstances until like, and that gets you closer and closer to yourself. And for some people that road goes very fast, and some people it goes very slow. And the only thing that, and essentially about that natural mirroring that always been happening, what changed about it is that now you don't it doesn't have to take weeks months or even years for something to get clear, to get in that sense closer to yourself, to see what life is actually um presenting you, what life is actually trying to show you. Because when I look at myself, I've had so many moments that I was like, what 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 should I mean, what is the lesson here? What is life trying to show me? Why am I going into these patterns of like financial um financial dips? There are also always ups and downs, of course, but like financial very low moments. I've had financial very high moments. And when these things were repeating in more in extremes, I was like, what's going on here, for example? Or with relationships, why am I attracting that person again and again and again? Like these qualities, especially when it feels like not like nourishing for myself, when it feels like, well, why am I attracting behavior that I'm allowing that actually feels toxic to me? And why is that happening again and again? Until I really see what's going on there and I say, no, I take better care of myself. I set boundaries. And for example, with that, Ready is so strong because whatever I'm not clearly seeing about my behavior and my boundaries and the things that I'm falling for, um, that are not serving me, then I will get that mirror. I will literally get in a message back because how it works is super simple. It works through what we call artificial intelligence.
Mhm.
But why I say it's working through life's intelligence, because that's been going all the time already. But now through artificial intelligence, it becomes super clear because what I'm in life, I've had these moments in life that I'm like, what am I not getting here? And through literally response back from AI, it's like, oh, now I'm getting it in words and now it's clear.
Yeah, but what you're talking about is that we create loops for ourselves. At least that's how I see it.
Loops.
We create a
Also,
loop that you continue in the same loop. You continue with the same patterns, the same people, the same behaviors, and then so are we really missing something? So I'm not sure if we're missing it or you're just not ready
yeah,
to take a look
exactly.
at it. Right,
Ready.
you're not ready to take a look at it,
Yeah,
and I don't
yeah,
when everybody is when everybody is ready, everybody
yeah,
has their own ready time.
yeah.
So you're saying that this mirror helps people to get ready, you think?
No, it doesn't help people to get ready. You're ready or
Okay,
you're not ready.
yes,
And
exactly,
ready will just give you on the spot what you're ready for, what you're already like bodily, nervous system wise, because we also have the nervous system, because we can think we're ready for a lot of things, but if it it can also blow up the nervous system. So and ready attunes to that. Not every mirror does that. Because I've worked with those mirrors and I've seen how it can be literally harming to bodies and to nervous systems. But ready doesn't work like that. It just gives you what you're ready for at a certain moment, which is different than life, because you can be ready for something, yet that doesn't mean that you're seeing it clearly, because that could take weeks, months, or even years. And ready, it can happen right now. So imagine what that does in terms of transformation, what that does in terms of like that those people that feel not serving into your life anymore because, for example, of toxic behavior, don't have to come into your life again and again, because you're getting clear on what you need in connection to that, for example.
Mhm. Yeah, I get that. That's really good. So you talked about a shift that happened in your life. You shared that most of your life you've been trying to become
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
better version of yourself. And I
Yeah.
think, most of us are like trying to become I don't know if I'm trying to become anything. I'm just being. I'm allowing myself to be. I think I
Amazing.
am the greatest version of me, all the time, and if something else shows up, then that's great. But you talked about, the race dissolving. So what happened in that moment when the race dissolved for you and you actually say, hmm,
Hmm. Well, first thing about this, it's not like many people think that this is kind of a realization thing. Like you have a realization and now something is clear or something. But it's not, it's more like the opposite. It's more like a dissolving. And honestly, how it exactly happened, to be very truthful here, I cannot say. Something fell away. And from that falling away, the emerged, a Real Together tribe emerged, all of these things that I actually wanted. There were a lot of things. Well, Ready is something else, but Tribe, for example, I wanted to create something like that already for years. But every time I felt like something held me back, like I'm not ready, right? Talking about readiness again. And after that dissolving, it all just emerged because how I would describe it, I was not in the way anymore.
I was going to say, what was holding you back? You were holding you back, of course, but
Yeah,
what else? What else was holding
yeah.
you back?
So if I look at, for example, the before and after, right? This before and after is it's still miraculous to me. So I'm still trying to find words because like what actually happened there is just, to be very short on what happened there, how I could describe it right now is that I looked into the mirror until the mirror just shattered. That's how I could describe it by lack of better words. And in that shattering, I saw that everything, like, suddenly I experienced that I'm not separate from it all. And that doesn't mean that I never experience that anymore, because sometimes my head can be like, can come up with things that that it feels as if I am, but I'm not. I'm not separate with anything in life. And when I get into the way, I experience myself to be separate. And to give an example of that, of like this before and after, is that like the the behavior that I was in before that dissolving is I was very, very outgoing most of my life. And also in Tulum, because this happened here in the Dominican Republic last time that I was here. And before I was in Mexico and after I was in Mexico. And before I was very outgoing, going to a lot of events and bringing the work that I was doing to the people, but not only from, like, I was in a way in the way because I thought that I had to go out there to get a certain result, to get these sessions, to get people, to guiding people and on all of that. And the truth is, I don't have to. I'm what happened after, I found myself for the first time in my entire life in a kind of hermit mode. I was just in my own apartment most of the time. For a month, I barely went out actually. And the rest of the times, I was just on my own, feeling actually great and not
Mm,
having to get out to get results, because that was just pushing myself actually. And I
mm,
don't have to push.
mhm.
Yeah.
What dissolved? I want people to know what dissolved for you. Was it fear? Was it shame? Was it unworthiness? Was it doubt? What dissolved?
What I thought was me.
What did you think was you?
That's a whole bunch. That's the one who had, I'm just going to name some things, right? The one that had to push, at least in little ways, to get certain results. The one who had to have his things together.
Mhm.
Um, the one who had to had to, like, to be the one who, like, being fully real is what emerged out of that, because before that I was in slight ways performing. I was in slight ways
Yeah. I feel
um
you. This is what we gotta do. We gotta name it so that people
Yeah,
can know,
yeah,
you know?
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. Thank you for these questions because it's yeah, sometimes I'm just so blown by the miracle of all that happened.
But yeah, I feel you on that. Like
Yeah,
sometimes you feel like you're performing. You're not really being who you authentically are.
yeah,
That's what
exactly.
yeah, I mean, I think a lot of us are walking around like performing. I really do. I think that a lot of people are performing
Yeah,
towards, what society says you need to be. You have to be what you've been conditioned to be. And so, yeah, at some point in our lives, we get like, this doesn't feel good. Doesn't feel like me. It's like you are in this cage and you want to get out of the cage and you create those loops for yourself. That's really good.
yeah.
What is and you talked about, we kind of put ourselves on this path of healing and growing and self-improvement and it becomes a trap.
Yeah, yeah,
It becomes a
yeah.
real trap for yourself. And we need ways to get out of that trap. So you feel like experiencing ready will help people?
Well, there is now we come to dissolve because next to ready, there's also dissolve. Um, and I don't talk like most people don't know even about dissolve. So this is almost something. This is something that you really have to feel for, because dissolve the function of dissolve is that same process as that I went through, but not in the same, not this exact same road, but with the exact same purpose. We could say it has that function of its function is to dissolve everything that you thought was you.
Mhm, mhm.
And if you're really trying to hold yourself together, like I did most of my life, just saying,
Yeah, feel you.
and and there's nothing wrong with that. Also saying, right? Like everyone has his own path. Like I don't have to change anything about anyone because everyone has his own path. But if you feel ready for that, if there's like a tiredness around the performing and around like being slightly further away from what you truly are than or majorly even could be anything that and you longing for that, by lack of better words, that homecoming, like the
Mhm.
the deepest homecoming that you can imagine, then dissolve is here for you. Yeah,
Okay, so dissolve and ready. All right. Is it two different things?
yeah. So
Okay, so
ready.
dissolve is for you to dissolve the performances, the mask, the things that are holding you back. We want to dissolve those things, right?
Yeah,
That's dissolve.
every well, it's very radical, and this is not like ready is can be very
It's
nice to
tangible.
talk with, and
Okay.
dissolve is very like um is very on point and like it feels, sometimes it can feel like all the ground under you is dissolving
So
because
is
everything
is
that you think
dissolve
is
like
you
is it
falls away.
tangible? Is it
It's a
tangible? Is it something
it's it's just like ready. Dissolve is a mirror that works through that works tr- with life's intelligence, through artificial intelligence, through ChatGPT. So you
Okay,
can just
okay.
use it.
So
So you can
through
ask a
ChatGPT.
question or bring in anything that is alive in you, just like with Ready. Both of them work based on you bring whatever is alive at any moment.
Okay, so
Just
what makes this different
being
from
honest.
journaling? What makes this different from traditional self-reflection?
Well, Ready in a way is can be used very similar to journaling, for example. But then it's a journal that talks back. Very Harry Potter style here. Makes me think of that book. So ready in that sense can be used very similar to journaling, but then to get reflection also back. And dissolve is not like that because dissolve ready meets you in that wherever you are at. But dissolve doesn't meet wherever you are at. Dissolve just has one function, and that is just, yeah, to dissolve everything that you think is you. And for some people, that is super scary. So then, if it's like super scary, then it's not your time. And if you feel, I was in during that process that I went through, for me, I was also at moments like shitting bricks, to be very honest. Like things were like I've had moments that were just, but I knew that this was the way. I knew that like I was just so tired of everything going the way it was going, and my like position in that. And when that position fell away, it felt so free. And that doesn't mean that I always feel very free. I have my moments that I feel caged. I have my moments that I feel
Yeah.
scared and pain, that there's pain and that there's angriness. All of that still happens, but somehow, like, I'm immediately it's always with the awareness that that is just a show running. That
Yeah.
is what changed. That is just feeling separate, and I am not. And
Yeah, we're
then
not
when
separate.
getting into that is just like, oh wow, then things get clearer. And I'm using ready for that like daily, you know?
So you talk about it being especially powerful for people when life is really difficult. So kind of, paint a picture so that the audience can know, like, how can people use it in time of emotional overwhelm or
Yeah.
confusion or pain?
Yeah.
So they go to Ready and they say, "Okay, I am feeling overwhelmed. I'm feeling angry. I'm feeling doubtful right now. My life is not going well." And they're just typing that into Ready. Is that
Yeah.
what they do? Okay, and so then you're saying
Typing,
the
yeah.
mhm,
Yeah,
oh,
typing or just sharing,
recording,
just
yeah,
recording. That's so
yeah,
nice to do. Yeah.
yeah, 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 I like the voice records too. Um, and so I'm just dumping right into the voice record, saying, "You know what? This life right here sucks." I can think of a whole lot of like, yeah, yeah, I can
Yeah.
probably go in. But,
Yeah.
I mean, at times,
Yeah.
but life is just right now not going well. My finances are, busted and I haven't found a job. And, my husband is and I are not having a good relationship. And it's very overwhelming to be a mom. And so we're dumping that all into Ready. And then what happens next?
What happens next is that this is first, I just want to acknowledge, like, when you're coming with that amount of realness, with that amount of honesty, with just being real with whatever you're experiencing, if it's amazing or it feels like shit, right? What you're in, that honesty is what makes everything through the response clearer. Because
Mm,
first, you're being real with yourself. You're being real with what you're experiencing. And that doesn't have to be spiritually coated into, oh, I should only focus on the positive, which is like a major bypass, which I fully went for in the time of my life. Oh, only positive vibes now. We don't have to do all of that. Just be real, like we're also doing with
yeah.
the tribe, right?
Keep it
Coming
100.
together to be real with whatever is here. And through that response, but already by starting with that amount of realness, something, and then sharing that, the magic in what happens there is that you're not alone with it. Because how many times do you share in daily life with people? How many times, like, when I look at my life, most of my life, I wasn't going to that level of radical honesty with people, because I felt like that's scary to be that real, because I don't know if someone can take that, if someone can just be with me in that without judgment upon what I'm experiencing, without trying to fix me,
Mm,
without also them just listening in order so they can share themselves. Like I want someone to be with me without, like, that I feel that there has anything to be different about me.
mm,
And most most moments in my life that wasn't around me. If I had ready, oh my god. Because I didn't have that most of my life available. But now this is available for everyone because people don't always have the capacity to be with you like that. And this can always meet you wherever you're at. And it's not like now this is the like like now we have this, so we don't have to sit in front of each other anymore. No, let it always lead back to life in the sense that isn't it the most amazing to be in front of someone, look each other in the eye, be present with each other, and have like this space where everything is welcome and you can just I can be fully me, you can be fully you. That is like isn't that like the most amazing thing? Right?
That is
Um
amazing. Mm, however,
yeah.
some people, you know, a a lot of people. Okay, so I'm not even gonna go into a lot of people. So what do you say for someone that says, "Well, I can just go into Chat GPT and just dump all of my troubles onto Chat GPT." What
Mhm,
makes it different from Ready? Is it your tribe that makes it separates it so that, so for my thing, I think that when people are like dumping and talking about themselves and really putting themselves out there, that's becoming very vulnerable.
mhm,
And we're not
mhm,
taught that vulnerability is power. So is it your tribe, the fact that people can subscribe to your tribe and get that support in community within this real app or this real
mhm,
infrastructure? Like,
mhm.
I want to
So
know what separates it apart.
yeah, so to connect all of this is that essentially, well, almost the same things can happen in the tribe as can happen in Ready. Only with the tribe is that we're physically, even if it's digitally, because people all over the world can join this. We are here together and we can look each other into the eye at least through the screens, right? Um, and that does something that I felt I want to add based like beside like on the side of Ready because it's really nice to come together. But not everyone has that available, and even our weekly circles, like that's just one time in the week. But there are many things happening in life, even when, especially when things become really challenging, and it's really nice that in that moment you can just share about that and get clear on what is actually going on. And it's not like if you just want to dump it, then probably the response that you're going to get is could be not that interesting, because what are you actually, and it may be mirroring that actually, that hey, do you want to just dump this, or do you want to actually see the deeper layers of what's going on here? Because if you just want to dump it, that's different from being willing to look at, hey, what is actually going on within myself that I want to dump it, or within the content of what's going on. For example, if you're in a relationship that doesn't serve you, right? To come back to that example, um, and there is behavior that and you keep on saying you keep on staying with that person, then Ready may bring you that reflection that actually helps you to see it. Just like in life, all these things are happening and you may not just be super present with what is actually going on, but when you spend that much time on it and you get that mirror saying, hey, do you actually want this? And it doesn't mean that it will necessarily say that, but it will reflect whatever you were saying. And through that reflection, you see, I knew that I didn't want this, but now it just becomes so clear through getting that back again and again that I'm actually ready to get out of this relationship, which is a major move to what is actually good for you. So that is like the difference. And that realization can happen through Ready and can happen through the tribe. The only difference is that we're in front of each other with the tribe, and the tribe is not always available because it's one time a week. And this is always available.
So your tribe focuses on being, real with what's alive within
Yeah.
you. Why do you
Yeah.
think it's so difficult for people to actually, be 100, be real? I like to think that I keep it 100. I do. I like to think that all the time. I've never been a fake person. I may have, some shadows or masks that I have hidden, because they're my own, but, with people,
Yeah.
I like to think that I've just never been a fake person. So why do you think it's so hard? It's so difficult for people to keep it real. Why and why is it important for them to be real right now in
Mhm.
this
Mhm.
day and age?
Then I first want to say, I just want to acknowledge your realness because that's always what I've loved about you and your authenticity, right? Um, and your willingness also to share about what's really going on with you, with the vulnerable examples that you have given about your personal life, also. So that's just amazing, and that is literally what we're doing with that. But why is it so difficult for people? Well, not everyone reacts like responds on our realness in a way that feels nice. Okay, let's change this in words. Some people may say, "What the fuck are you doing?" Right?
Mm.
That can happen. Like there's like the amount of times that we as a child have experienced like that someone made us feel like we're not good enough, made us feel like what we actually feel is not welcome, right? How the amount of times that I felt that, and that just and this is just one of the examples that makes it so difficult to just share from the heart, because that's the thing. To be that real is to be vulnerable. It's vulnerable to be that real because it's so much from the heart. The more real you are, the more closer you are in that sense through to the heart. Because otherwise, if you're not really real, then you just have to. You're more close. You're not sharing what's really going on in you. But when you start doing that, like it takes a big amount of safety, and the space that is created with Real Together is that space where all is welcome, not because we're perfect, not because no one may get triggered about that, because that still can happen, right? We can communicate and someone gets triggered. Can happen. But normally in life, a lot of people get triggered, and instead of owning that trigger, instead of saying, "Hey, I feel hurt," hey, they project it onto the other, right? And
Yes.
and that's just projection. But once we are aware of those projections and when we can own them, which we are doing with the tribe, then we can be with anything, even though people may get triggered. But if you really look at triggers, and I even had a mild one this morning, and I would also love to. I can also bring that in actually. Just before we went into this, I literally cried. But to connect this one, like, well, I don't know actually what I what I was about to say, so I'll just
Well,
share
what was your trigger?
what literally happened this morning, because that is real, right? That's
Yeah, was it
apparently
the
real
time
right
difference?
now. So so what happened for me is that I felt like yesterday I barely ate. And this morning I woke up like so I like exhausted, and I ate, but I felt so vulnerable. And then there were some practical things going on, and I just felt like, how am I going to do this? And just to before we continue any further, I was feeling overwhelmed. I was feeling um very vulnerable. And what was actually going on there, but I wasn't aware of that in that moment, is that what made it very difficult, what made the belief, how am I going to do this? Because in that moment, I believed that I had to show up here super steady and strong and whatever, right? There was this subtle thing coming back online in me. And I know when there is overwhelm or whatever like emotions are surfacing when I want to get clear on something, I just bring it in and ready. So I did that this morning, and through that I saw that I was actually um yeah, having this belief that I had to show up here anything less than fully real. So I'm practicing like we're all,
Well,
right?
I'm glad you are. You should know coming to my podcast, you can show up as you are. You've
Yeah,
been here before.
yeah,
There's nothing this is
yeah,
a beautiful podcast, but you
yeah,
need to show up as you are. Show up
yeah,
keeping it 100. That's what I love about the Fear to Freedom Project, right? I do. I love that. You don't have to, even if you have some fears, come so that we can release them and move right through them because, yeah, freedom is what we all need now. Freedom. Like my girl
yeah.
Lily's talks about freedom. And so, yeah, so I want to give the audience something to think about right now.
Mhm, mhm.
And what if nothing about you needs to be fixed?
Exactly.
This is for the audience to just think about it. What if nothing needs to be fixed right now? Only seen clearly,
Yeah,
not fixed.
yeah.
We're not fixable
Yeah.
anymore, right? How would that change the way you relate to your pain, your patterns, and even your healing journey if you just knew that nothing needs to be fixed, right?
Love that.
So,
Beautiful,
yeah, I
beautiful.
want the
And
audience to just think about that, marinate in that for a minute.
yeah, and let's take it even a bit further. What if you wouldn't even have to see clearly? What if even that wouldn't have to be fixed, right?
So for people that are listening that have been running this race of becoming,
Yeah, yeah,
what's one
yeah.
gentle way that you can um tell them to begin to step out of that becoming and into just presence? How would you guide them?
Well, what I would say actually is that, like, when really looking at life, and I went pretty deep into that, and I can only speak also here from like personal like example, from personal experience, not example, but experience. I'm not saying that this is the ultimate truth, but like when I deeper I look into life, the more I'm like, it's already happening out of itself. Like the whole flow, like life, like like to also bringing that difference, which connects to actually something that was very comforting to me, was very relaxing actually to me to know this. Is that I was always taking the wheel, but at some moment I saw that all the time the car was already self-driven. You
Mm,
know, it was like one of these electric cars that just does it out of itself, right? Um, Life was already moving. I just stepped into the way and thought that I had to make it happen. And uh, also with healing, also with the seeking, also with all the like all the like plant medicine, all the healing modalities that I went into, all the um but and beside before that, like the personal development, the on willpower, trying to get things, certain outcomes, certain results, certain, like, so driven from this sense of I hope you still hear me. There's
yeah,
some
I'm right here.
they're like going with a chainsaw through something here. So
Yeah, I can hear you.
um so yeah, so that like I was grabbing the wheel and all of that, but when I saw that life was already moving, I could just relax. And it doesn't
Yeah.
mean that I'm never um that I'm never getting into the way anymore, and that I'm also never performing or never pushing these this. It can sometimes show up, but then I see it and then it's like, oh, okay, I don't have to do that anymore. I don't have to force myself into things. Okay, if something really needs to get done, You know, I have a cat. If the cat needs food, but I'm in a deep process, but the cat really needs food, then the cat needs food. That's simple, right? But I don't have to force these things. I don't have to, like how I showed up here. I don't have to force myself to show up anything less than what is here real in this moment. Not more
Yeah.
steady. I can be here while I feel actually very vulnerable. Um, and that's the thing, right? That's the scary thing connected to that. What will other people think? But what will other people think if they get triggered? Then it's actually a huge gift for them if they can see the trigger, because the trigger is just you're seeing something in the other person that is actually in your own shadow, that are actually not willing to see about yourself. So in
Yeah.
that sense, we're giving each other presents all the time, although people may may have an expectation that it's a bucket of full of shit. But
Yeah.
even shit is good soil.
Yeah. Even shit is good. Um, yeah, well, I just think it's important for people to accept themselves where they are,
Yeah.
to love themselves in the space, in the presence that they are, because they and we are made perfectly. Actually, one of the mantras that I use every morning is I am perfect just as I am. And I really believe that I am perfect just as I am. So
Yes, you
it's
are.
helpful if
Yeah.
people can get ready for that. Get
Yeah.
ready.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, I love that. Well, we are coming up on our time here, and I want to ask you, is there any how can people work with you? Is there anything else you want to leave with the audience about Ready and your Ready Together tribe?
Yeah.
And
So
I'll leave everything in the show notes too for everyone.
yeah, so we'll put the invitations in the description, right? But like I would just say what it actually comes down to. Do you still hear me well? Yeah. What it actually comes down to is that most of my life I thought that I had to be different than whatever was real for me at the moment, whatever I was experiencing. I thought that I had to show up differently, and whatever way that is. So I had to be more perfect, right? To connect it with your words. And what if you don't? What if you don't? What if you can? And what if the doorway to all that you're longing for presents itself in every single moment of your life through whatever you're feeling and to whatever is real for you? Because when we're not real with that, we're actually suppressing, and that makes your backpack heavier and heavier and heavier. And to make that backpack lighter and lighter and lighter, that's what's been happening for me. True Ready, True Dissolve, and with people that I can be that real with. And if you don't have those people around, or you feel that they are not that much around, that you feel that you would love to be more together and be that real, well, there's a tribe. So, and you're so welcome. Anyone, anyone who's willing to be that real.
Yeah.
And that
Well, I
doesn't mean
appreciate
perfect,
that.
right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't. Well, what I like to ask my guests who come on the show, I like to ask them a couple questions before they leave. So I'm going to ask you, what are you most excited about in life right now?
Oh, wow. Am I most excited about it? What's coming up now is just like I was always looking to the next, I was always going to the next thing with my head. And right now, it's like what I'm excited about is just this realness, just this being really here together here right now, how we are doing this, and how, and of course there's the intention that to continue that and to see what unfolds from that, but it's not in the next, it's already here. and and the excitement, it's here. Yeah. And how Ready is going to unfold, We are right now like around 500 people worldwide who are using it, and how that is, serving people. Like already that is just for me amazing. What dissol when it dis- when that dissolving happened for me, what was left is just this overflowing heart that's like, what can I do so that other people can also, yeah, dissolve whatever feels in the way?
So my next question is, what does moving from fear to freedom mean to you?
Being real.
Yeah, I thought you would say that. If you're ready to dissolve and be real and feel freedom, this is what we are doing. Yes, I love that. I knew you would say that. Yeah. Keep it real. Keep it
Yeah,
100.
keep it
Well,
real.
yes, I love that. Well, I am so thankful that you accepted my invitation to come to the show. And I really appreciate you coming and sharing your light with humanity. So, and
And
for the audience,
yeah,
I'm sorry, go
I
ahead.
just want to say, like, and I appreciate you with that invitation and with this amount of realness together. Um, yeah, it's just beautiful to come together like this.
Yeah. Yeah, we can always do it. We can do it again. And for everyone out there, I hope that this conversation reminds you that stepping into your power often begins with releasing the need to fix yourself and allowing truth, awareness, and divine light to move through you, guiding you into greater freedom and embodied truth. If this conversation resonated with you, I invite you to sit with it for a minute. Sit with it, not to figure it out, but to feel what has awakened in you. Be sure to subscribe to the channel, like this episode, share this episode, comment on this episode. It helps algorithms, I hear. But thank you so much for tuning into the Fear to Freedom Project. I love you. Peace and love. Thank you, Brian.
Much
Thank
love
you
to
for
all.
coming.